Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for a short clip from the main show. We hope you enjoy this.
I believe she was had a bank account frozen, but for a whole other reason, not just because she was at the protest. People were wondering about what was happening with that bank account, if I remember correctly. So yes, they were both charged with mischief, intimidation, and counseling others to break the law in relation to their roles in the 2022 protest that drew thousands of demonstrators to Ottawa for 3 weeks, nearly four. The trial wrapped up in September after hearing 45 days of evidence and legal arguments. At the time, Justice Heather Perkins McVeigh said it would be daunting to come up with a verdict given the volume of evidence and legal arguments involved in the case. Remember, fellow convoy organizer Pat King was found guilty of mischief and disobeying a court order late last year and was sentenced to 3 months of house arrest with credit for time served in February. So I think it was like just under 2 years total when they got the credit for time served. But the Crown, which requested 10 years in prison for King, is appealing that sentence.
Mhm.
So, yes,
He might still,
we thought that would be the case, and it turns out that it was indeed.
yeah. We'll find out what happens. He may still very much end up doing a little bit more of a bit than house arrest, which is what I think he's 1 year house arrest
I
with a
believe
nickel
so. Yes.
bracelet monitored and blah 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 blah. So
Yeah, I believe so.
he got off pretty light, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, I would have definitely given more, but he did spend an inordinate amount of time in prison prior to getting to trial. Part of that was his fault.
Yeah. He brought it on himself. He's like, "Oh, they gave me a year under house arrest for honking horns." No, 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 no,
No,
no, no, no. There was considerably more than honking horns at
yes,
play here. So yeah,
yes, and just like Joe did not get arrested for simply taking having a picture of herself taken while she was given the peace sign.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
And it's a nice
Um,
try gaslighting us there.
exactly. It's what you did before the picture.
It's not going to work. We know what happened.
All right, a couple of other little tidbits. The NHL and Rogers have agreed on a 12-year, $11 billion media rights deal across Canada. So for those of you who like hockey,
Yeah, that's
woohoo.
not a good deal for Canadians. The first time around, it wasn't a good deal for Canadians either,
Nope.
because you have to subscribe to Sportsnet and be a Rogers account holder. And if
Yep.
you're not a Rogers account holder, and I'm not, I'd have to get a Sportsnet subscription to be able to
Yep.
watch the games I want to watch.
Yep.
So instead, I'm stuck with mostly Leafs games on CBC on Saturday night. Now, that being said, I do know of some other ways to watch the games. I'll leave it at
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But
Um,
this they doubled the deal. The first deal was for 12 years for 5 billion. This is 12 years for 11 billion. So,
yep. TSN did the same thing when they had the Grand Slams. They used to have games that were just online
mhm,
that you could watch, and you just go to the TSN website. But now they've got TSN Plus, so you got to pay for that now.
yeah, and it's not cheap.
No, it's
It's
not.
just I want TS I've had TSN for the CFL season so I can watch my Red Blacks games when, they're not at home and I don't have time to go to a pub. But it's $30 a month.
Yeah.
That's for one channel. I'm like, "Come
Yeah.
on, man. Give me
Yeah. I know.
something reasonable."
Exactly. Other news, it seems that Hungary, but Netanyahu is in Hungary, and Hungary has announced that it will withdraw from the top war crimes court, of course, right? And it seems that Danielle Smith is a little upset lately because it seems that according to Nanos research, again, an A plus pollster in Canada, along with the Globe and Mail, which, everybody can have their own opinion, but is not known as a shoddy news
Mhm.
paper. Well, apparently, Daniel Smith thinks that a survey conducted by both of them that finds that more than two-thirds of people in the prairies support putting tariffs on oil, natural gas, and electricity must be a fake poll. Quote, well, I think it's a garbage poll.
Yeah, well, guess what? It's not up to you to determine that, Danielle. It's the pollsters did by doing their job.
Yes. She goes, what if we were asked to ask Albertans or Canadians this? Would you support export tariffs if it meant the US would retaliate by shutting off Line 5 and leaving Ontario and Quebec without gasoline or aviation fuel at all? I think you'd get a different answer. Yeah, that's why it's called a loaded question. That's why we leave the pollsters to form the questions. So it's a garbage poll because it has numbers she doesn't like. Of the 277 people from the prairies polled, 58.8% said they support imposing tariffs on the export of oil, natural gas, and electricity to the United States as a form of retaliation. So that did not make her uh, happy. Now, that's resistance compared to other parts of the country. Support for tariffs nationally is at 68.1%. So it is more resistant, but it's still the majority. She's not, again, she's not speaking for Albertans. So, and of
Mm,
course, Danielle Smith, in her typical style, when she gets news she doesn't like or she's told no, it's a garbage poll
of course it is.
because she's not like Trump at all.
Not in the least.
Stormy Danielle Trump. Yay. Okay. And finally, in a little bit of tidbits, well, when the Conservatives dropped their first candidate, Kits and Cubs, I thought, well, gee, that's embarrassing. And then they gave us the gift of dropping two. And I thought, okay, well, gee, any hope that news of the first drop would be unnoticed by the news because Paul Chang was such a big story. That went away because now they had to drop two in one day. And then they dropped three in one day. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, well, Andrew Lawton still hasn't been dropped yet. So there's going to be more, right? This is going to be a multiple day story. Well, turns out.
Survey says conservatives drop fourth candidate in just 2 days over alleged social media activity. Alleged
And
social media activity? Alleged?
no, actual, because they
Actual.
shared a screenshot of the comment, so it's not alleged. He
It's not
did have social
alleged.
media
It's right
activity.
there. We're looking at it. It's not alleged. It's
Yes,
there.
yes. And here's the thing. This one is particularly delicious because, well, we suspect that there was heavy interference by the government of India in the 2022 Conservative leadership race. Well, let's just see what the article by Stephanie Haas, CTV, says here. Late Wednesday, the party confirmed to CTV News that Don Patel,
Hmm.
Patel is like Smith. It's a very common last name in this culture. Will no longer be running to represent the party in the riding of Etobicoke North, and shared a screenshot of a social media comment they say was shared with them that Patel supported in the past. According to the screen grab, the comment reads, "Mr. Grizzly, would you?"
1 second. 1 second. I had something else pop up on my screen here. My apologies. My apologies. There we go. The screen grab. Should be stopped these people by Canadian government and deported to India. Then PM Modi can take care of these nonsense people.
So I'm guessing I'm guessing he meant, should we stop these people? So
I
it should
I,
be,
I guess.
but it could be a typo. But yeah. So if you remember, the big scandal about the Liberals is that Paul Chang suggested, seemingly, according to people that were there in a joking manner, that a conservative candidate, Mr. Tay, could be surrendered to the Chinese Communist government because they had placed a bounty on his head. And we said that was incredibly unacceptable. And then we saw a whole bunch of conservatives come up and really clutch pearls and said, "Oh my God, how can you ever say that?" And it turns out that all along, not only did they have Mark McKenzie that mused aloud that, we should bring back, he's all for public executions, and let's put the prime minister in that. And that was social media comment that was available, but apparently nobody caught before approving him, or did and thought it was okay and
We'll just
approved him
let it.
anyway, which is probably more well likely what happened given this purge. Well, this guy here, Don Patel, is, should we deport certain people to India so that PM Modi can take care